I woke up this morning craving jollof rice, not because I was hungry, but because something in me was missing. You see, jollof rice isn't just food to me. It's history in a pan. It's my people surviving, celebrating, adopting. It's the culture that learned to travel without a passport. Every grain of rice carries a story of the markets back home, of aunties arguing about who made it best, of Sundays, noise, laughter, and time moving slowly. Living abroad teaches you so many things. It teaches you independence, it teaches you resilience, but sometimes it teaches you distance. And food becomes the bridge, because when Africans cook, we are not just feeding our bodies, we are remembering who we are. We are keeping the tradition alive in foreign kitchens. We refuse to forget ourselves. Jollof rice is resistance, it's memory, it's home, even when home is thousands of miles away. So today, I am not just cooking, I am reconnecting, I am grounding myself, I am honoring the hands that feed me even before I knew their names. This is more than a meal, this is culture, this is Africa, still alive, still speaking, and even here. Jollof rice didn't just start as a recipe, it started as a civilization response. The roots of jollof rice trace back to the Wolof Empire, 14th and 19th century, located in now Senegal, Gambia, and part of Mauritania. This empire controlled trade routes, agriculture, and food system long before colonial borders existed. Rice was already a staple crop in West Africa. African rice, Oryza glaberrima, was domesticated locally centuries before European contact. That matters. Jollof rice is not borrowed cuisine, it is indigenous innovation. When tomatoes were later introduced through Trans-Sahara and Atlantic trade route, West Africans did what they have always done, they adopted. Rice plus tomato plus onions plus spices plus heat equals to a dish that feeds many, stretch resources, and still feel celebratory. Jollof rice was born out of community cooking, not fine dining, big pot, share meals, collective memory. Every African country has its own version because Africa has never had one story. Before borders were drawn by colonizer, people move freely. Ingredients change, climate change, crops change, taste evolved. Each region adopted jollof for what the land provided. Senegal and Gambia, commonly known as Senegambia, often consider the origin, use broken rice, more seafood influence, deeper umami, sometimes less heat. Nigeria uses long grain palm boil rice, smoky flavor, bold peppers, party food, and for celebration. Ghana uses jasmine or basmati rice, slightly sweeter profile, more aromatic, tiger grains. Sierra Leone, Liberia, Guinea, Cameroon uses more vegetable, sometimes leaf-based flavor, regional spices, urban and rural adaptation. This is not confusion, it is cultural intelligence. The so-called jollof war are playful now, but underneath them is pride. We survive differently and we cook differently. Because jollof is identity you can taste. It shows up at weddings, funerals, birthdays, naming ceremony. It feeds the crowd when money is tight. It welcomes guests. It announces joy. In the diaspora, jollof becomes something deeper, a way to teach children where they came from. A smell that turns a foreigner apartment into home. A proof that culture survive migration. For Africans abroad, cooking jollof is an act of remembrance. You may forget the language, you may lose the accent, but the hands remember you how to cook. Jollof rice is not just food, it's pre-colonial knowledge, agricultural mystery, community economics, resistance to erasure, love cooked slowly. It's Africa saying, we were here, we are still here, and we fed ourselves. Jollof rice didn't stay in Africa. Through migration and trade, it reaches the Caribbean and the American South. Some believe dishes like the jambalaya carries echoes of jollof rice, West Africa rice tradition blended with colonial ingredients. African diaspora community in Europe and in the US. It's now a staple in cities like London, New York, Atlanta, and beyond. Non-African chefs or foodie might try jollof rice like an exotic recipe. Sometimes that leads to creative fusion like jollof paella mashup. But in some cases, it also brings controversies and misunderstanding, like when non-traditional ingredients got introduced and spiked backlash from West African communities online. This is more than taste politically, it's about cultural respect, tradition, way of life, and remembering roots while evolving. Jollof is memory you can cook. Let's talk about how taste become memory lane for people who grew up with it. I didn't grow up in one place, I grew up moving. I'm Nigerian, I'm Sierra Leonean. My mother is from Sierra Leone, my father is from Nigeria. But I grew up in the Gambia, so jollof was never one version for me. It was never one rule, it was never one accent. Every place taught me something. In the Gambia, I learned patience, letting the rice take its time. In Senegal, I learned depth, flavor that sits and stays with you. From Sierra Leone, I learned generosity, food that feeds everyone no matter how much you have. From Nigeria, I learned boldness, spice that don't apologize. Then life moved me again. I came to France and here I met a woman who became family. She is from Ghana. She taught me her way of cooking jollof. Different rice, different balance, different rhythm. So now when I cook jollof, it confuses people. Sometimes they ask, is it Nigerian, is it Ghanaian, or is it Senegalese? The truth is, it is mine. It's every border I crossed, every kitchen I stood in, every hands that corrected me gently and said, no, it is like this. When I cook jollof, I don't just follow one tradition, I honor all of them. That's why it brings memory, that's why it brings fulfillment, that's why it brings connection. Because for people like me who moved, who belong to more than one place, food becomes the language that never forgets. And in Africa, we believe cooking is an act of love. We don't rush it. We don't cook angry. We don't cook without intention. You cook with memory. You cook with presence. You cook with your heart. And here is what people don't talk about. Food like jollof teaches you how to live with change, because no two pots are even the same, even when you try. The tomatoes are sweeter one day, the peppers are sharper another day. The rice absorbs differently depending on where you bought it, how old it is, how much water it sinks before it meets the pot. So you learn flexibility, you learn to adjust, you learn to listen. That's the very African way of thinking. We don't freeze tradition, we carry it. And when people ask why jollof doesn't follow one strict method, I think about how African life itself was never strict or fixed. People move, season change, ingredients disappear and reappeared. And we learn how to improvise without losing ourselves. Jollof teaches you that identity doesn't have to be pure to be real. It can be layered, it can be mixed, it can be involving. Another thing people rarely say is this: cooking jollof trains patience in a world that rushes everything. You can't hurry it. If you rush the base, the rice will tell on you. If you rush the heat, the flavor collapses. If you rush the moment, the joy leaves. You stand there, you stare, you wait, and without realizing it, you are participating carefully, cautiously. That's why jollof often tastes better when you cook it for others, because your intention changes the outcome. There is also language in cooking that survive even when the words don't. Some people forgot how to speak their mother tongue fluently. Some people lose accent. Some people can't even explain where they are from without stumbling. But then, put them in the kitchen and suddenly they remember. They remember when to taste, when to lower the fire, when to cover the pot and let things settle. That knowledge doesn't live in books, it lives in the body. And when you live abroad, that matters, because there are days when you don't feel fully understood. Days when belonging feel conditional. Days when you are translating yourself constantly. Cooking jollof becomes a place where you don't need to explain yourself. The pot understands you, the smell understands you, the process does, and something else happens. You stop cooking just to reproduce the past. You start cooking to create continuity. Not this is how it was, but this is how it continues. That is why Jollof isn't trying to be correct, it is trying to be honest. Honest to movement, honest to memory, honest to the fact that I am made of many places, many teachers, many kitchens. And every time I am cooking it, I am not just feeding people. I am saying, this is how we adopt without disappearing. This is how we carry love forward. This is how home learn how to travel. And if you are watching this far from where you started, missing something you can't fully explain, maybe it's not the food you are craving. Maybe it's the feeling of home finding you again.